Chapter 3, let's look at supply and demand put together. Some of you guys have been waiting a while for this. It's hard to think of just consumers or just producers. Let's put them together and see what happens. Here are the learning targets below. It says how supply and demand curves determine a market's equilibrium and the equilibrium price. In the case of a shortage or a surplus, how prices move the market back to equilibrium, and how equilibrium price and quantity are affected when there is a change in either supply or demand. Remember that a change would shift either the supply curve or the demand curve. So how is that going to affect the price and the quantity? Very simply put, the equilibrium is where quantity demanded and quantity supply intersect. Equilibrium is where supply and demand meet. So equilibrium price is where the supply curve and the demand curve intersect, and you go straight over to the price line, the vertical axis, as you can kind of see right here where I'm standing in front of. If you want to look at the quantity, you look at where supply and demand intersect, and you go down to the horizontal axis and find your quantity. If I move out of the way, you can kind of see that on this graph here. The equilibrium of supply and demand. Here is a graph below. Please copy this graph in your notes. The P is on the vertical axis for price, Q on the horizontal axis for quantity. Simply draw your supply curve and your demand curve. Label them S and D. I'm not too concerned about the prices right now, but you can look at them there. The price, of course, the equilibrium price is where supply and demand intersect and straight over to the price line, and quantity is right where supply and demand intersect and straight below. Let's add another step to your graph. You can find the equilibrium price and quantity. But what happens if the price is too high? Please draw in that line now. So let's say that the price is at $2.50 instead, and draw that line straight over. You can see that the quantity supplied now is much greater than it was at $2. Now I'm willing to sell 10 ice cream cones because I get a lot more money. Of course I would do that. But as a consumer, I don't want to buy ice cream cones for $2.50. Forget that. So the quantity demanded goes down. Well, the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded. This causes a surplus. So how do you get rid of a surplus? If you work at Target or Walmart or some other manufacturing business and you need to get rid of something, what do? Well, when I worked at a grocery store, we had overstock or back stock, and it was all on carts in the back. And to get rid of that pallet or get rid of that cart, we would lower the price. And that's what happens in the real world. If the price is too high and consumers are not willing to buy that product and there is a surplus, it will decrease back to the equilibrium price, thus making it an equilibrium. So here's just a quick definition of surplus. You probably don't need me to video this for you. However, I did abbreviate some of the words here, and I just want to make sure you get the right stuff down. So a surplus, when the price is greater than the equilibrium price, then quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded. Alright, if you could please humor me and draw one more graph. I know you're getting sick of this, and I do have a few more graphs for you at the end too. But if you could humor me and draw this one, again, P for price, Q for quantity. Draw your supply and demand curves. You can find the equilibrium price, the equilibrium quantity. This time, what happens if the price is lower than the equilibrium price? Well, if I'm a consumer, I say, hooray, this is awesome. I'm going to go out and buy that ice cream cone because it's only $1.50 compared to $2. so this is a little bit cheaper, so I'm willing to buy that now. As a producer, this is not good news for me. I'm not going to be able to make a living off of only selling my ice cream cones for $1.50, so I'm going to sell less. Well, this causes a shortage. And once again, to get rid of the shortage, then we are going to increase the price back to equilibrium to get rid of the shortage. If a shortage persists for a long time, then a black market may occur. So again, you really don't need me to tell this to you, but just want to make sure you get the language right here. A shortage is when the price is less than the equilibrium price. Then the quantity demanded is going to be much greater than the quantity supplied, and you'll have a shortage. Just kind of like the situation in the 70s, where you saw in those videos cars lined up around the block trying to get gas. Or as a sign here says, if it's you have an odd numbered license plate, then you got to get gas on odd numbered days, and so on, to try to ration the shortage of this good. Well, we've had the law of demand and we've had the law of supply, so I guess it would make sense that there's also a law of supply and demand. The claim that the price of any good adjusts to bring the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded for that good into balance. That is the law of supply and demand.